I'll...
I have so much food in front of me right now, it's ridiculous. I have 6 chicken sliders, 5 mozzarella sticks, and a cup of french fries.
Fat boy!
That sounds delicious.
Oh, it is delicious. There's no way I eat all this, though.
Come on now. You got a big
I'm
body
tiny.
for tonight.
I'm tiny.
Okay, you're tiny, but you gotta have big body mentality.
I'll do my best, just for you, Alex.
Wonderful. Oh.
So there's a delay of a second. Are we missing packets? Is that what's going on right now? I'm not quite sure.
Your boy's taking a leak. BRB.
Gross. It's like, nah, I'm trying to hear the pitter patter, bro. I need to hear the little tinkles. Please don't, I swear to God. Well, that's annoying as fuck. Let's go live. Get people in here. Oh. So, Alex, Christian, what do you guys do for like a normal 9 to 5, if that's what you do?
Well, I don't really have a normal 9 to 5 just because I'm a college student. Normally, I'm in North Carolina because that's where my school is. So right now, I'm just taking a gap semester and I'm chilling and stuff. And no one's really hiring right now. I've been looking for it, but no one's really hiring. So yeah, I've just been working out and hanging out, I guess.
Working out, that's for faggots. No, I'm just kidding.
This fucking guy.
I'm working at NPH. I work IT over there. I was actually just there today. You guys hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
Sorry.
I was chewing. If Keegan ever doesn't respond, it's because he's 10 feet into his computer, reading something.
Try 9 inches deep. Thank you. Just joking.
Can't be what you don't have.
God, things are gonna get really fucking vulgar tonight. I can already feel it.
Wonderful.
How many times are me and KWA gonna share each other on each other's story?
No, honestly.
I shared them, they shared me, and then I shared them. I should do it again.
Fuck it. Full send.
I'm gonna see how many times I can get him to do it. I wonder who's running it.
I know it's my boy Tom. Yeah. Tom
Oh shit!
No introduction like a Jacob introduction, choking on a goddamn dick. But
Sorry, no.
welcome
Chicken
everyone.
went down the rod.
I love it.
Right.
I love it. So today things are a little bit more interesting than usual. First off, Marcus is not going to be joining us today, or at least it doesn't seem that way. We do have 2 special guests with us. 3 of the 4 people in this call played in the Gauntlet series this past weekend. We have Christian Silva, good old Jacob H. Heath, and Alex. I'm not even going to try to say your last name because I know I'll end up butchering it. But all 3 of these gentlemen participated in the Gauntlet this past weekend and performed rather well, if I do say so myself. So without further ado,
Some better than others.
let's get this fucking conversation started.
Cough.
I'm actually really happy to have you guys on here for a number of reasons. One, I want to participate in this shit so bad. I gotta get that off my chest. Like, I'm so envious of the 3 of you being able to actually play and the whole fucking shebang. What were your initial thoughts like going into the night? Were you more nervous, a little bit scared, or were you just like, fuck it, I'm gonna beat everybody?
I thought I was gonna come in last place, to be honest. And then you
Right.
guys set me up with Jacob on the first match. I thought I was done.
Hey, look, I'm not even gonna lie. That when Keegan, like, he didn't tell me the schedule prior to, right? But he goes, "Oh, just have fun round 1." I was like, "Fuck you! I know you put me up against somebody good. I know it." And that I knew, and I was like, "It's got it. I don't know who it's gonna be, but it's someone." And then I saw it was you. I was like, "Fuck, Christian can shoot." It's just. I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna be a rough first match."
To be honest, I thought I was gonna be in last just because I know how you guys play, and I played against you guys in like open play.
Right.
You guys are raw. I didn't expect much. I was just like, first 1v1 tournament. I talked to Jacob about this before. I was like, first 1v1, I'm gonna just throw myself in there and see how it goes. If anything, I'm gonna get experience off of it all.
Yeah, you did. You told me that in Manassas when we were talking.
Yeah, and then we talked on Instagram too. I told you I'll just throw
Yeah.
myself to the wolves.
Yeah, pretty much. For me, it was I went in with, I mean, a little bit of a mentality of like a winner's mentality, being a little cocky.
Yeah.
Which I don't typically do. In sporting events or competition events, I usually kind of downplay myself, like Christian said he did, like he thought he was gonna come in last. Same with Alex. I typically downplay myself that way. I don't disappoint myself when I just, if I do better, I'm like woohoo. If I don't, then I'm not disappointed.
Yep.
But it definitely kind of bit me in the ass a little bit going in thinking I was gonna win more than I did. But nonetheless, I also knew who I was up against for the most part. There were a couple people that I didn't play throughout the night and or hadn't ever gone against aside from or often enough to really know how they play, like Alex. Like we've played in public play a couple times, like he said. But I don't really know his skill set or get to see it because we don't play together all that often. Whereas like Christian, I've competed against before, and played with him in public play numerous amounts of times, so I kind of had an idea of his skill set and how he was gonna approach things per se. And he absolutely shit on me.
So
Yeah.
I
was
didn't-
nervous running the chat room too.
For I don't know if there's not. I'm speaking like there's like thousands of people in this goddamn chat right now, and there's not. But any of you guys that are here at the moment, if you didn't know what the Gauntlet series was, we started doing a 1v1 series with KWA kind of backing us, leading the way, and these motherfuckers thought they were, you know, full of themselves enough to participate. So, I mean, forever grateful. But
Hold up. What are you trying to say? Full of themselves. It's like
nah.
I threw myself in there more out of curiosity.
I mean, I get it.
wouldn't say full of myself.
I get it. I will say I made the schedule at least 3 times. Like every time I would make the schedule, I would get a registration in, and I was like, who's this asshole coming in, making me have to redo this shit? I was so angry, and I redid it. And then someone else, I was like, look, I'm tired of this shit. Y'all need to get it together. But yeah, Jacob, originally, Jacob, you were supposed to go against Lewis round 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you went against Christian, I was like, this is just as fucking good.
Yeah.
All right, so after, go ahead. What you got?
Go ahead. No, I'm just choking on mozzarella sticks. You're good.
Damn, losing my train of thought. So like after you got that first game done, right? Was it kind of like pre-game jitters are all gone? I'm chilling. Like I know more of what to expect, or were you still kind of like in your head? I'm really curious about like how your mind started to like mold around the event itself.
All right, so I know Christian and I were the first game of the night and first up period. And for me, I didn't really particularly have pre-game jitters like I used to get with sports and like certain events. I had more of like a weariness kind of feeling. Like I knew I had talked shit a little bit, so I got to back it up, right? That was kind of like ooh, what do I do in this situation? I've never really done it, so let's see how that plays out. And then I was weary of the game modes. Like I knew them, but I mean, nobody really knew the full set of the rules and how they were going to work until like it was explained and until we kind of played it. And it's one of those things you can explain it till you're blue in the face, for me at least, but until you play it, you don't really understand what it's going to be like, at least for me. And so getting through the first couple of game modes with Christian, going up against him, it was tough because it was like, all right, I got a tough opponent, but at the same time, I got to figure out how I want to mold my skill set to fit this game mode for me in order to succeed. So I was just very, I guess, like I said, weary of the overall situation. I don't know about everyone else. Go ahead, Christian, Alex. What you
I
guys
was
were...
nervous every time I was called in there. My adrenaline was going crazy. I did not know what to expect. I didn't know. I was asking Keegan right before we started, like how to play Treasure Trove. I'm like, what the F is Treasure Trove? Like, and then we gotta get the block. We gotta find the flashing lights. And I'm like, which light is mine? And you get hit, you run back to respawn. The first time I went to grab those blocks, I ran them back to my respawn, thinking I was taking it back to spawn.
Yeah.
When I was supposed to be looking for that block, and Tyler's like running behind me, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. For me, like I got nervous before every game just because it was the idea of a new opponent every time.
Yep.
So the same strategy wouldn't work every time.
True.
It was just like something different. It was something I've never done before. Then just some of the game modes, like I didn't wrap my head around until I was already 2 games in.
Yeah.
Like the first game with the treasure trove, when I was walking to spawn, I was looking for the box around spawn. I was like, it should be here. And then I asked one of the refs. He was like, I can't tell you where it's. I was like, oh shit. And then with the mags and stuff, like trying to find the mags with scavenger. Oh my god, that was.
Don't even get me started.
That one
was
had
fun,
me
though.
going.
Y'all don't want to get me started on that one.
the combination of adrenaline and like the nerves doesn't help you looking for something as small as a fucking X9 mag.
No, not at all.
So
yeah, you had those smaller mags too.
Yeah, with motherfucking Slim Jims.
Yeah, I was right there with you. My extended pistol mag's small too, so.
Like there was one match. Actually, I was with Christian, or watching Christian, and just you didn't even think about going left. You were just like, I'm going straight in for it. My mag's gonna be in this spot. I'm confident we're going. And I was like, nah, you zoomed right past this bitch. Like you are not finding this. And there was
Is that when I played with Marcus?
It might have been. Yeah, because Marcus found his.
He found his right away.
Yeah.
And I tried to sneak up behind him and knife him, but it did not work out at all.
And then talking about playing against different play styles, each each different round. The most interesting one I had the pleasure of viewing from the top was Alex versus Eric. Like polar opposites. Eric got into position so early and just stood there, was just chilling. And I was following Alex around like a fucking jackrabbit, man, just zooming in and out of each fucking room. I'm like, dude, slow the fuck down. Like, I'm out of shape, man. I gotta keep up with this bitch. And then towards the end,
That's how Tyler and Aiden felt the entire night.
I know. And I'm actually kind of like sad that I didn't realize they were going through this until like an hour or two left. I was like, fuck, man, yo, my bad. Let me get you at least a little bit of a break. But was there any point during the night where you guys were like, I'm super comfortable with how things are going, or was it always just, you know, a little bit on edge?
So for me, sorry if I jump on anyone's toes going first all the time. I
Feel free
just
to cut
talk
'em
over
off,
each other.
honestly.
Yeah.
You good.
No, for me, my point of confidence kind of switched right. I think it was about my third match. I don't remember how many we played. But like when I went up against Christian, I was nervous. It was his first game. Christian can play. I was like, shit. Second game, I believe, was up against Lewis for me. I had a tough lineup to start. And I came out with a win against Lewis. And my confidence went up because of the win, but it wasn't more so because of who I beat or the win itself. It was more so of, okay, I'm comfortable with the games now. Now I can really kind of play my game. But that being said, I'm just going to throw in, which I've already talked to you, Keegan, about this on the side. The part that threw me off when playing, which kind of messed me up in my flow, is during Scavenger. I didn't realize the mags could be hidden at a different level, like different heights, and mine got put on one of the little peak windows, like the ledge of the little peak windows that have the plexiglass in them. And the person I was against, I think it might have been Bert, his was on the floor. So I was like, I was zooming all around looking for my mag on the floor, never to find it because it was up there. And I approached you after the game, and you took care of it after that. But for everyone else. But for me, I was just like, well, fuck, this is shit. And then at that point on, it was just difficult for me in that game type. Every other game type, I think I did myself, just my overall opinion of myself, I think I performed well.
Yeah.
And knowing what they are going forward, I think I'm going to do much better and bump up in the rankings, hopefully. So.
You know, speaking of the rankings,
I felt
there you go. Go ahead.
I felt some comfort from knowing the map. So that was my thing. Like, that's the only comfort I kind of felt, and that's just because I already knew the map.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I had an unfair advantage almost to some of the other guys who had actually never played on the map, that field.
Ha! See, Keegan, I knew he had an advantage.
Yeah.
For me, when it came to comfort, I guess I didn't find my comfort until around like my last 2 games or last 3.
Damn.
Just because.
That's funny that you say that though, because you finished fairly well with a strong finish.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because like, I guess just the nerves would get to me beforehand, and then in between, right in like the halfway mark of like the night, I just started listening to music in between games just to like chill, and then from there, like the nerves weren't going that crazy, and I was able to just relax a little bit and get a little more comfortable, and just think a little more clear out on the field.
Now,
Christian, I don't know if you know this. The reason I said, see, he did have an advantage is because on the side after the event, I had talked to Keegan, and I had told him, I was like, had Christian not known the field on me a little bit better than I have and knowing the angles because he's played a couple of times already, I was like, I think I could have given him a better run for his money than we did.
Oh,
Or than I did.
I mean, that's every weekend when I play. I mean, you could tell even with the veteran guys, you can be really good, but if you know the map like the back of your hand, I mean, you automatically have some sort of an advantage.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what the case for me at Manassas with the new layout that we had put in. It's going to help me because I know the angles and I built the thing, so I think it's a bit of an unfair advantage, but it's an advantage I do have.
I kind of agree with that. Like when I went against Marcus, he talked about it that in the game he was like he said that he has to like learn the angles or learn the map, and in the second round I used it because he had me pinned down in one spot, and then I knew if I go around the room, I was able to see where he was at without him seeing me per se. I
Yeah.
just took advantage of that.
Next question, Mr.
Yeah.
Keegan.
So, it's funny that you bring that up though, because who was it? Lewis. Lewis brought up, you know, he didn't realize, and I don't think any of us really realize what's going on until we get into those types of situations where it's dead quiet. Like you're hearing the sound of a pin drop,
Yeah.
right? And
you're literally hearing your own heartbeat and your own breathing,
exactly,
and
and
it's
that's what I was gonna get
so
at.
prominent.
It's like
Yeah.
you can, especially if you're standing still, you can start to control it a little bit more. But if someone's coming up on you, because it sounds like they're breathing down your neck. And Lewis was saying he was like gassed, like just absolutely winded, and he had to try to bring it back under control so that way he wasn't giving himself up, before he even got
Yeah, he was
there.
telling me he was like holding his breath, and like when he was at certain points, he was like, just to make sure that people didn't hear him breathing, because like you don't realize like when it's that quiet, just the slightest, like you can hear
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, you don't realize how loud you breathe until it's quiet.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
until
right.
there's no
That's
one
how-
else on the field.
That's how I found Eric in the first round that we had. He was in the room and I heard him exhale, holding my
Yeah.
breath in the moment. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, shit.
my match against you, Alex, there in our sudden death,
Uh-huh.
I knew where you were because I heard you guys coming up, and I was gonna make a move to flank you, but just as I did, my foot hit the wall, and you heard it, and then that's when you flanked me, and it ended up killing me and taking the win.
Oh no! And that one I actually saw you. I saw you peeking with the barrel of your gun. So I like backed up, and then I saw you dip out the other way.
Yeah, so like I knew you had seen me when I dipped because I poked my head slightly and I saw you, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna dip and make the move, and I hoped that I had turned the corner fast enough to be able to turn around just in case I was gonna bunker down in another corner rather than completely flank, and my foot hit the wall, and when I did, I was like, fuck, if he heard my foot hit the wall, then he knows I'm sitting right here.
Yeah.
So I continued the flank instead of hunkering down in the corner like I would have done.
I'll tell you what, for me with my pants, I really had to walk with my legs like apart from each other because I'm wearing the paintball pants and they're baggy. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there trying to move around without making any noise, and it was so hard.
Yeah,
that's why I paying attention.
After I had played you, Christian, I played in my chest rig and backpack. I played with my HPA setup, and then after that, I was like, nope, I'm going pistol. I'm dropping all my weight, dropping all my noise, everything that can possibly make noise or give me away, gone. And I even, this is gonna sound weird, but I thought so much about this beforehand that I specifically sat the night before deciding on which pair of shoes I wanted to wear more, because I know I'm sneaky in those. I'm quieter in those two pairs of shoes versus other ones. So I was like, which ones do I want to wear?
But like that,
I mean, those things make a big difference.
It does, and you got to think about that shit too, though. Like it's so strange, right? Like in these like 5v5 scenarios, because we've all experienced that here. There's so much going on that you don't have to really worry about those really minor things. It's not until it's actually 1v1 at the end of that fucking round where you're like, oh shit, like let me move a little bit slower, let me be a little bit quieter so I can hop up on this dude. But when the whole game's like that, like you have to plan in advance. You got to think about what kind of gun you're using, how loud that bitch is gonna shoot. Like if your shoes are gonna squeak at the wrong time, you know, there are so many things to take into consideration.
Even simple as like, even watching your footing while you're playing, like trying to avoid, like it's like playing like hopscotch with BBs out there. Like you're trying, like you gotta, if you look at, it's like a win-lose situation. You look down to try and watch where you're gonna step, but in that moment of you looking down, that you to make a more cautious step, you could give away the opportunity of shooting somebody and you end up getting shot. So it's like you have to pick and choose like your movements carefully and like coordinate it, like because you don't want to step on the BBs because they bounce out from under your feet and then they go shooting places and they make all kinds of noise and it gives you away.
Ryan,
when I was walking around with the Vans on,
pro strat socks only.
Right, that's what Ryan said in the chat. You got to pick the right socks, boyos. It's all about the socks. Actually, now that you mention it, if I wear a specific sock with my Chucks, every time I take a step, I'm fucking squeaking. No lie. That's a real fucking thing. So I understand that wholeheartedly. God damn.
No, all right. You know, ultimate shoe for 1v1, the little toe shoes. What are them, Jones, with the rubber on the bottom?
Oh,
nah,
shit.
they're so bad for you, though. So like, obviously, I feel like I'm the guy that always has that one thing, and I had 2 pairs of those goddamn toe shoes, and I tried for like the longest time. So like, I ran an obstacle course race. We're going way off the track here, but I had to do training in those shoes, and I ran like 6 miles in them. I was like, "Fuck, dude, my feet are killing me." Yeah, never fucking again. I will always wear regular running shoes from now on, but that's besides the point. Fucking so I know Christian and Jacob, both of you guys have signed up for at least Manassas. I think both of you guys have signed up for all 3, right?
Yep.
Nah, I'm only for the other Rockville. I didn't sign up for Manassas.
Damn, I was about to say. What's up, Jamie?
I did all 3.
I'm lazy. I don't like going down there that often.
I mean, it's once. It's once. That's all good though. I understand.
I go like once every like twice a year maybe.
That's not true. You're down there more than that.
Once you're comfortable, you're comfortable. So my question was going to be like, I mean, I think this is a pretty obvious answer, but after going through this one, once you hit the next gauntlet, do you feel like you're going to have like a pretty marginal advantage against the other competitors that haven't been in it yet?
If the game modes are the same, and the map is the same, I would say yes, definitely.
Yeah,
agreed.
So
like going back to like when we go back to Rockville for the 3rd event, I also got the field has changed. Chris changed it today a little bit, not a lot, nothing like super drastic, but it's changed again. So it'll be fair for everyone. Nobody will have really played it per se by the next rock. Well, that's not true. The next Rockville one's like what, end of March?
Nah, Rockville's is April 24th.
Oh, so even farther. So it's not gonna matter. The field is subject to change then. But anyway, I would say yes. Like Christian said, if the field doesn't change and things don't differ, yes, it'd be an advantage. However, like I stated earlier, Manassas would be an advantage for me.
Yeah.
But the disadvantage, I've actually been thinking a lot about this as I figured this question might come up, is at Manassas, I don't know where you're going to place the mags. I don't know how you're going to set up the trove for the treasures, like where those are going to be.
Yeah.
And then I like there's so many factors that it's like, are you going to do it only on half the map, or are you going to do the full map because it's a bit bigger than Rockville, so it might take a little longer if you do the full thing, you know. All those things that you somewhat take into account can end up being a little bit of a disadvantage. But like I said, knowing the field and knowing the game modes will give me an advantage over the newer competitors.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Like knowing the game modes will help, because it took a couple games to get used to the game modes.
Yeah,
now that
for sure.
we know what they are, it'll be a little easier. Like I know Luis had a big problem with the game modes, but now that he knows like what they are and like
a bit of a problem.
Nah, Lewis
sorry.
just came up to me and straight up said his attention span went right over his head. Like he did not. Like he heard the game mode and knew
Yeah.
what it was, but didn't know what was going on in the game mode per se. And like that's no hate. He like told me this personally. He was like, he came up to me after our match and was like, "Did you hear them say where the trunks are gonna be for the treasure?" And I was like, "Yeah, they told us our color and that they're in these corners." And he was like, I completely missed that. That must have just gone right over my head.
So
And I was
I
like,
will say
"Oh,
this,
wow."
I
right?
missed the corners.
So
And he didn't know that the blocks were in the middle. He thought that we had to find them on the field.
So before everything started, right? I'm giving the briefing. I'm saying all this stuff. I'm explaining the game modes, and I remember glancing over at Lewis and just seeing like a complete daze in his face. Like he was no longer on this planet. He was fucking gone. And I really wanted to be like, dude, fucking pay attention. But I mean, it's like, you do you, boo boo. I'm not gonna interrupt your fucking meditation, your Zen mode or whatever. But yeah, that shit was fucking funny. Like that was funny.
He just wasn't there that night, but give him a chance to recoup. He's gonna be something to watch out for.
Yeah, next
Yeah,
time
for real.
he'll be on his shit.
Because everybody knows that Luis is probably one of the best players. So to have all that pressure, like to come in first place, or to be the one expected at the being a lot. If I was in those shoes.
I feel like
Right.
that's definitely a part of it, and I think the other aspect of it too is making the distinct switch from public to competitive, right? And
Yeah.
if you're not like fully, excuse me, beer's fucking coming back up at me. If you're not fully prepared, don't laugh at me. If you're not fully prepared for that switch, it makes your night a whole lot harder because then you have to actually actively move into that mode, and I think, like, don't get me wrong, playing beforehand is definitely a good idea, but I totally think like an hour before the tournament starts, you should probably be just resting, because then you can at least get yourself out of that mental mode of, oh, I'm just playing against rentals, or oh, I'm
That's
just
what
playing
I
against
did.
these guys, because it does play a factor in the whole problem. You know what I mean? But you guys had mentioned, knowing what the game modes are, and if things are going to be the same, it's an advantage. And I will say, we're definitely going to hone in on what the game modes are going to be, but there is an unknown factor brewing at this current moment. So before the podcast, I actually met with my buddy Tom from KWA, who we've been partnering with, and yeah, I'm just gonna say there's gonna be some out of town friends coming in pretty soon. I'm not gonna say who. I'm not gonna make any assumptions as to who that might be, because it's
I'm
Jacob.
assuming.
So you can assume, Jacob. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not who you think it is. It's not him. It's
Oh,
not
I know
him.
it's not. No, I know it's not. I know it's not him. I know. I think I'm making my assumptions, and I think I know who's coming.
So, but yeah, so I was just told today to hold a couple spots
But
for April. That's the
I was gonna say,
event.
so for the actual season, right?
Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, things are changing. I don't want to say too much because things could change again, and nothing's concrete. But
So it's preseason.
yeah, so some things are going to definitely be changing about preseason, and some things are going to be changing about the official regular season as well. So I mean, I'm like super giddy right now, and I'm trying to hold myself back, but I'm not doing too well.
Nah, not at all.
Drink
But
more,
yeah.
drink more, drink more.
All right, let's see. So Carl said, definitely feel that, because I feel as if I'm not equipped enough to keep up with competitive players. Not skill wise, as in my gun just physically isn't fast enough. My shots aren't consistent. So like, there's only so much that can be said about actual like rifles themselves or whatever you're using. It doesn't matter. Like whether it be a pistol, a shotgun, Christian, OTU, or a rifle. Like when you get into those 1v1 situations, the strategy and the problem solving that you go into the situation with way outweigh the skill that is involved with
It's
the actual
Yeah.
game. Because like if
yeah.
for example, like if I see
It
Jacob across
becomes
the
more
field,
mental.
yeah, if I see you across the field and I know like, all right, I could probably go this way and he won't see me. That's the choice that makes or breaks that round, that win, that decisive moment, without the whole tournament. And especially once we get to the
And on
regular
the
season and it's single limb, like you can't make those mistakes anymore.
right, and on the flip side, you got to remember, like if like Keegan, like you said, if it was me and you against each other, who relatively know how each other typically plays,
Yeah.
and like the move, you got to think like, okay, this is the move this person might make. This is what I'll make.
Right.
Or this is what we typically both would do. What can I do that's different that he won't expect?
Right. It,
But it's like, and it's like, is that unexpected move gonna make or break me? Like,
so what
says the one who's not in the competition.
what I want to ask you guys now, because that whole conversation kind of sparked me, was what was probably the most frustrating thing about the entire tournament? I don't care what it is.
I'll go last because mine's long. I'll go last.
I have something that frustrated me too. So, but Alex, Christian, either one of y'all want to go?
When you say frustrating, are you talking like a match or like
Anything.
It could be
Anything in specific?
anything, like how things were ran. It could have been how you performed, the match, the game. Anything.
Gun, your equipment not working, something.
I guess for me, I'm more hard on myself than like anything else. So
Yeah.
like if I lose, it's on me. It's not on anyone else or anything else. So with me, it's just like the 2 losses that I had. It was mental miscalculations on my part, just because I didn't like against Christian. My loss against Christian, I should have pushed a certain way instead of going to where he was. I should have tried to anticipate his movement and rotation around the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on me. And then with Eric, I should have anticipated. And I knew he was in like that one corner, or like in that general area, I guess. But I just should have anticipated each corner instead of just like going in blindly and thinking just this one part.
Yeah.
Should just check every part. That was my frustration. Just like the 2 losses that I had were really close. So
What about you, Christian?
I didn't. Nothing like that really stuck out. I did see some other players getting frustrated on sudden death. I did hear some talk about people just kind of waiting for the opponent to show up.
Yeah.
From a couple other players, and I think they were a little frustrated by that. But aside from that, I mean, if I was in Jacob's position, I think I'd probably be a little frustrated if my mag was in a position where he said, it was. I would have been like, whoa, because I don't think anybody really would have checked somewhere like that.
Yeah, that was my biggest frustration.
That was pretty tough. Yeah, so.
I feel like this is a
But
really.
I mean, these are things that I didn't experience. I didn't experience these things, so. But I could see why.
I mean,
those sort of things.
You didn't experience these things because you went fucking 6-0. So like, I mean, why would you be frustrated?
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, like.
Hey, Christian,
yeah,
I'm gonna blow your head up over the next month. I tell you what, I'm blowing you up.
But see, well, okay, here. How about this? I didn't get to play all 10 players.
This is true.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I don't know how fair that is because I know Bert's somebody I was kind of like, okay, I was worried about playing Bert, and some of the other guys that I didn't actually play, like I saw Randy running around the field. That guy was acrobatic as fuck.
Dude,
and
yeah.
people like that, it's hard. When I have a certain gameplay and they play totally different, somebody like that can run circles around me.
True.
Yeah.
And, I just would have known. Maybe he would have beat me. I don't know, but
That's
always
That's
gonna
true.
be
I
lingering in the
think
back of
that
my
I
head.
think that was one of my frustrations. Aside from the mag, like Christian said, and I pointed out earlier in the broadcast, that my biggest frustration but it was also a blessing because of time and how late it was and tired we all were.
Yeah.
Is not playing everybody, but I think my schedule in particular, I wasn't bummed about it because everybody was super competitive and I love the guys that I played against. But I was looking forward to playing against some of the people that I haven't
Yeah.
necessarily played against
Yeah.
yet. Like Pat, Bert, Lewis, and Christian were all on my schedule, and I play against them regularly. So as much of a challenge as it was to play them, oh, and Alex too. Alex not as much as them though because he's newer to the game. But um,
Hey, no slight, no
so
slight.
for right, so for me it was just like okay, but it was beneficial because it's like I know how they play to an
Yep.
extent, so
Yep.
I knew what to kind of expect from them. But at the same time, I was looking forward to. I think that's why I didn't have as much pregame jitters as I thought I was because I didn't play anybody that I didn't know except for TJ, and I did get jitters when I played TJ because he took out Pat 2-0, and I was like, damn, he beat Pat, and how good Pat is, and I was like, and I got to play both of them. I was like, "Whew, it's gonna be a tough night." And when I went
TJ
up
and
against,
Marcus were both really good.
yeah,
For
I
not
see.
knowing that
I didn't
much
get
at
to play
all,
Marcus. I
they
didn't get to
got
play
good
Marcus
reaction
or
time.
Randy or Eric. But I was really looking forward to possibly playing Marcus and or other people, like I said, that I haven't played. So I think that was my biggest frustrations. I didn't really get anyone new other than
Yeah.
Alex
Yeah.
and TJ. They were my two newest. But it was fun. It was a great time. So, but I wanted to talk on the frustration Christian pointed about the cat and mouse type situation where people were frustrated that somebody was just waiting.
Yeesh.
I think personally it's a fair strategy. I understand the
Agreed.
frustration from people who are sprinting around like looking for somebody like, oh my god, why is this person just
Alex.
camping? But at the end of but at the end of the day, it's like number one, this is a competition. So you do what it takes to win.
Yeah.
And if sitting and waiting is your forte, by all means, sit and wait. If going and hunting people is your forte, then that's what you're going to do. Not everyone's a hunter. Not everybody's going to
Yeah.
go out and go get that person. Some people wait for the right shot. I mean, like, even in public play, like Eric. If you look at Eric, who competed in the competition, when he plays in public play, he's not super aggressive. He's not a gung ho, go shooting, go willy nilly getting people. He's I'm going to methodically and quietly move up to a spot I want to get to. Once I get to that spot, I'm gonna sit and wait for my target, and I'm gonna just take my target out one by one at a time.
Yeah, I
until
think
he
that's
dies.
why. I think that's why I was a little more frustrated with myself
Yeah.
because, like, I mean, video games is kind of unrelated to this, but like with Call of Duty, I can jump between hunting people and camping and whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, I don't know why I couldn't adapt in the moment and understand all that. But that's something like I'm more frustrated with myself than I am with his playstyle. Just because in competition everything is fair.
Yeah.
Like, you play how you play, and that's how you go. And if you can't adapt, then that's
As
on
long
you.
as it's within the rule set, right?
Yeah. And if you can't adapt, then that's on you.
Yep.
Yeah. You know,
I second that.
the one thing that kind of pissed me off
But
about all of you,
I
to be completely honest, is how fucking nice y'all were. Like, so like I've done a lot of competitive shit, so I know how I am in these situations. And every time I've been in some sort of tournament or event, some nature, like I don't talk to nobody, especially if it's a one-on-one type situation. Like, fuck you, all of y'all are my enemies. I don't care if you're my best friend yesterday, you're my enemy today, and I don't talk to you. And I remember sitting at the fucking table, and y'all were just huddling around the fucking screens, like, oh my god, you see him running? It's like, yo, I wouldn't have done that, or like, oh, he should have done this. Like, the fuck? I ain't talking to your bitch ass. Like, get away from me. Like, I'm ready to like tear
Okay,
down some
but,
walls
like-
on this. But that's just me.
All right. Well, my
Overly
thing was,
aggressive.
well, you being that way, I distinctly remember you. I don't know if it was the last podcast or if it was just personally saying you were going to stir up some shit. You could have
I
stirred up
couldn't-
some shit sitting at that desk.
I could have. I honestly could have. But I remember. So like Jacob, I came up to you and I did this when I was on the field reffing. I went up to Jacob. I went up to Marcus. I think I ended up saying something to Alex at one point, which is like, "Yo, what's up, big boy? Like, let's go. Like, let's get this W. Like,
Yeah, it's
something."
just like a mini pep talk.
Exactly, because
Yeah, for me, he literally, you came up to me, you're like, "Let's go, big boy," and you're like, "We don't take L's. We don't take L's. You got this." And I was
Nah, for
like,
real.
I didn't, I responded to you, but I don't remember what I said. But it did put me in a good mindset. I was actually my game against TJ, and it was in my sudden death. It was right before my sudden death that you had said that, and I actually wound up getting the win, which was kind of cool.
well,
if I'm gonna be honest, like with airsoft, like I haven't been like with that mindset because that's my normal mindset. Because like when I play rugby, that's my mindset. Where
yeah.
if you're not in the same jersey as I am, I'm gonna run through your mouth. But
Right.
with this, it's like it's more so fun and like I'm just exploring it. The only time that night I really had like a real competitive side, but I was still like kind of nice, was against Marcus. And the only reason I say that is because the last time you guys had a podcast to cover the 5v5 tournament,
Yeah.
he laughed at one of my slides that I did. And I was like, all right, I gotta get his ass back. So
Yeah.
I've just been holding that. I've been holding on to
That's
that
a
since-
long ass
since then,
grudge.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like,
Alex,
that's
props,
just like the
props.
competitive side where little thing like that I'll hold on to, but I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. Like
Yeah.
Right.
I like the airsoft community, and I don't want to bring any like nasty shit into it.
No,
'Cause
no.
I've seen that shit with like football, like high school football rivalries are fucking shit,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
that's not something that I want me personally to bring into something.
so
like
like I know, like for me personally, in these tournament situations, like I said, I'll be really aggressive about it. Like I don't care. I mean, Jacob, we got a short snippet of it. We went up to New York, or not New York, to New Jersey, and we wiped this team. I'm not gonna say who it was, but we wiped this team, and like I was fucking gloating. I was like, hell yeah, let's go, let's get it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all about it. But post game,
And-
after the tournament, I mean, we cool. I don't mean nothing by
Yeah,
it
but-
in the minute. You know what I mean?
And I felt like at that tournament when that happened, and we all kind of cheered, like, because you start, like, I want to say started it. I don't know if that's the case or not for sure, but when we had that win, it's I saw you. Like you ignited it, everybody else was like, "Yeah, let's go, fuck yeah!" And we was all about our win. But then, like, I being like the self-conscious player that I am of my surroundings and things like that, I just noticed. I felt that like everybody kind of like, "Wow, these guys are full of themselves. Like, what the fuck are they celebrating?" Like, like the vibe
Fuck
that
'em.
kind of came off of it.
Fuck 'em.
I mean, like I agree 100% through and through, but like
yeah.
I'm just one of those players who's always kind of like noticed that. Oh yeah, and Fitzy, I agree with what you're saying. Everybody congratulating each other. That's why we're on
Yep.
our community's on top. That's
For
that's
real.
a good. It's a good thing to congratulate. Like that's one
Like-
thing I like Fitzy said that everyone congratulated each other. I am pro sportsmanship. Like if you
For
lose,
sure.
even if you lose, no matter how heated you are, congratulate the other player.
Yeah, no.
Don't be a bitch about it.
I'm-
Like, nah, fuck you.
I'm with
like-
that for sure.
You can still hate me, but
Yeah.
like congratulate me.
So I don't want to take this any longer than it needs to be. I know we have some early sleepers in this chat. I'm not gonna point any fingers or nothing, but I do want to say thank you both to Christian and Alex for joining us today. I'm gonna speak on a few more things before we close everything out. So Alex, Christian, if y'all want to stay, you can. You don't have to. But again, thank you for joining today.
Look, I got one more thing. I'm not a shit talker about Christian. I'm coming for your spot. Just know that. Be ready.
Let's get it.
Like-
Let's get it. You
like,
heard
I'm
it
coming
first.
Look,
This is an
Look,
exclusive.
Thanks for having us.
look, I want the top spot. Like I got all preseason to get there before the real season starts and put myself in a good position, and I'm coming for it. Like, end of story.
All I'm gonna say is I place where I place, and that's where I place. I don't know.
No,
what you-
no, get your competitive drive out of you right now. Stop being a little bitch. I'm gonna call you
No,
out
thank
too.
you.
I'm gonna make you hate me.
Hey, you
Wait till you
just
see me
wait.
in Manassas again.
Let him.
That's
I was
cool.
about to say.
You in one of my matches, you were like, "I hope you lose." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I literally told him that. I was like, "Oh, I hope you lose, Alec," because I thought he was undefeated like Christian going into that match. I didn't know he had lost one, and I was like, "Nah, I hope you lose." And he's like, "I've already lost." I was like, "Oh, my bad. Never mind."
Well,
Alright.
thanks
But go
again,
ahead,
Keegan,
Keegan.
guys, for having us.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
of
thank you for
course.
having us on.
Anytime, fellas.
All right, so
Go ahead and wrap her on up, Mr. CQB Rush.
so there's a few more things that I want to speak on before we close everything out. Hopefully this doesn't take too goddamn long because we like to ramble out here. But yeah, so like there's obviously been a big shift, at least that I've seen within our immediate area, within the Maryland, VA, a little bit New Jersey, New York, not a whole lot, but you're starting to see some of these fields cater to their community, which, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong, I haven't been playing that long. I've been playing for, it's weird to say that I've been playing for nearly 3 years now, because it only feels like yesterday when I first bought that Warthog off of fucking e-bike. But
God, you make me feel old in this airsoft
I know,
world.
because you came out the womb with the fucking Glock 19 replica just going blah 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 blah. No, let me stop. So yeah, there's a lot of these fields in the area that are starting to cater to us, and I want to speak on that for a minute because I mean it's really important. With
And it's really helpful.
it really is, especially
something to be appreciative of.
No, really, because I mean we have something that is growing continuously, and it's, I mean, especially me as an event organizer, it's very relieving and refreshing to see, the owners, like literally at the owner level, taking recognition of their community and their players, their staff even asking for all this shit, and they're finally saying, you know what, let's throw the dog a bone, Um, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, the beer's attacking me once again. But yeah, to add on to that, there's other communities that are trying to reach out to us, and all I ask of the people that are listening, or the people who are going to listen to this podcast, is the communities that are trying to reach out to us, i.e., the Real Steel community, or even the paintball community that reaches out to us and tries to do a collaboration or join in our events, whether that be
or even other
Milsim,
states.
yeah, and whether that be Milsim, Speedsoft, or Indifferent, we need to welcome these people into our community as a whole, because I don't know if y'all keeping up with things, like Airsoft ain't doing super great right now. Companies dropping off the grid. People aren't making as much money as they used to, so fields starting to close down. I mean, we're on the up and up, but we gotta get more people in the door.
Yep. That's one thing I'll just touch on real quick. Like, yeah, welcome everybody. Like, don't be the player who's out there and is toxic and rude and tries to get rid of new players just because they're newer, or they don't quite understand the sport as much, or they might be a little bit on the annoying side because they're inquisitive and they're asking questions. Welcome everybody with open arms. Give them a chance. Let them come 2 or 3 times to your venue, or even other venues that you play at, and really let them kind of find their way and see if it's for them. And then